Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. You can see I'm on my iPhone. Unfortunately, my laptop is broken, so I gotta get that fixed. So that's why my face might look kind of weird. iPhone has always like weird colors and shadows and whatnot. But anyway, so I want to continue my series on the young male crisis. I just wrapped up the series on the boys' education gap. So now I want to shift into the unemployment gap. And I'm just gonna kind of introduce it in this video and then dig into it in videos in the next few days. But this is what I'm talking about. There is a crisis of young men being out of work. The male unemployment rates. Young men not getting jobs. Men of all ages not getting jobs. And all of these articles talking about this problem. How come men aren't working? What's going on with men in the workforce? What's going on with the male unemployment rate? Now, I'm going to be breaking down and looking at some of these articles in greater detail in my next few videos in the next few days. But something you see all these articles ask is why? What's happening to young men in the workforce? What's going on with men and unemployment? How come men are having so much problems in the workforce and finding a job? What's the cause of this problem? And it's something that's kind of annoying as an MRA because this is the kind of thing that MRAs have been talking about for years. So to me, when I see something like this happen, it's not really a surprise. And I'm going to be making a few videos talking about discrimination against men in the workforce and why I think men are disadvantaged when it comes to hiring. In fact, I just did a video not too long ago, which I've linked below, about my own experience applying for jobs in LA, where I've literally been told, because you're a male, and sometimes a white male, that's why you're not being hired. But there's another problem as well, and it's something that I've just been covering in my last few videos, the education gap. And this is literally what my last few videos have been about, the education gap. How men and boys are significantly falling behind in education. Men are significantly less likely to go to college and have a college degree. Boys are doing worse in the education system at every single level, at every single age. And now we're seeing this big gap in education, where boys are failing in school and men are less likely to go to college. That is kind of what I've been talking about with this whole young male crisis. And that's kind of how all these topics tie together. And that's what MRAs mean when we say that male privilege really isn't what happens in the real world. When you look at the statistics, when you look at what actually happens to the average man and the average woman, you don't see that men are doing better. And when you look at the education gap, and then you look at this crisis of male unemployment, isn't it kind of logically connected? I mean, if one gender, right, if one group of the population is significantly disadvantaged and doing significantly worse and less successfully in the education system, in college, wouldn't it kind of make sense that that same group has a disadvantage in the workforce? I mean, if one gender is less likely to go to college, then it makes sense that that gender is going to be having a more difficult time in employment. And the statistics are pretty clear. The gender that's having the bigger problem in those areas are men. And the gender that right now is having more education and economic disadvantages are men. And that's kind of the point that MRAs are trying to make, is that what you hear about male privilege is not always what you see in the real world. So anyway, that's going to be what my next few videos are about. I put the links to all of this in the description below. Let me know what you think.